Greetings, everybody. I am David Duvall, a first-year accounting scholar hailing from the West Palm Beach, Florida. Greetings. So the first question we have today is, what do you consider to be the primary obligation of a resident assistant? I believe the primary responsibility of a resident assistant is to create a safe environment, welcoming and supportive for, living environment for residents. I think this includes being a resource for students, enforcing housing policies and just making sure that any, resident could come into my living space and be willing to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? I firmly believe that one RA in particular has done this. SRA Taj, she actually lives on my floor. I live on the 4th floor LLC of Palomar Village West. And I believe SRA Taj has done this because I don't really go to his room, but I do have his contact information. And I just feel like he has created a safe space for all of us. Even though we're not his actual side, we're not on his side, we're not his residents for real, but he does make it seem like we have a safe space to talk to him. We always talk to Taj about real life stuff. We always laugh together, joke together, and we also even go to church with. So for the second question, it asks me, what motivates me to pursue the role of a resident assistant, and how do I plan to be an influence and supportive role model for other resident assistants? And the main thing that motivates me to become a resident assistant is that coming into college, I felt very lonely. I was kind of depressed for the first 3 weeks because it's just coming from high school, you got all your friends, but now when you come to college, you're in a whole different state, maybe in a whole different city, far away from home, and it's kind of damn, I don't have no friends, I don't know who to talk to. And a lot of people do have social anxiety, and I kind of do in some way, shape, or form, where it's just I kind of don't talk to people unless people talk to me. But college made me really grow out of that and get out of my shell and just connect with other people. And so when new residents come in, this is my main motivation and how I plan to be a presence for others, is that I don't want another resident to come in and feel lonely like I did. So for the third question we have for today is, what personal attributes or strength do you believe will enable to perform actively as a new resident assistant? And I say one of my main strengths is being approachable, responsible, and open-minded. I feel like as an RA and as a resident assistant, it is very important for a resident to feel like they can come to you about stuff. Because at the end of the day, I feel like that's the main point of being an RA, is for somebody to be able to come to you, open you about their problems and how you could potentially help them feel better in the long run and make their overall stay at the resident hall way better than it could have been if you were just, dismissive of your resident and didn't really interact with them. I would also say that I am organized, very organized. SRA Taj has also been really important on telling us to be organized as an RA, because his room is also a room for where people get to talk to him, interact with him, and just be open with him. And another reason I would also say is, again, I would say organized as well, not just organizing cleanliness, but organizing planning and scheduling and things of that nature. A leadership role that I have as a shift leader back at the Chick-fil-A where I work at home is you have to be organized. You have to stay on top of things, because number one, when you're running a shift, running a shift is not easy. You have to take care of breaks. You got to solve any problems a customer may have. And Chick-fil-A is a very chaotic and hectic environment. So I feel like organization skills is really important, not just in cleanliness, but also with, doing rounds, making schedules, or even planning events as a resident assistant as well. So for the fourth question we have for today is, in what ways would you contribute to fostering a collaborative and positive staff culture among your peers with diverse personalities and varying levels of experience? I would number one say the way I could contribute to a positive environment and positive culture as a resident assistant is being respectful, supportive, and open to learning from others. I feel like coming into this new role, if God willing that I get it, is to be the best RA as possible. I feel like when I come into this role, it's very important that I have an open mind and open for opportunities for learning. Because at the end of the day, the whole point of the job is to make sure that you can be the best resident assistant as you can and the best resident assistant to your residents, period. And I feel like that's really the number one way I can contribute to a positive culture. I understand that everybody brings different experiences and different perspectives, and I want to be able to learn that and potentially learn from that and build off that so that I can help my residents better and help my peers out and work with other staff members really well and just gel and make a positive culture. So for the next question we have, it asks me, please describe an instance in which you proactively took initiative and what action did you take and what was the outcome? I would definitely say coming into FAMU as a first semester freshman, for the fourth floor LLC struggled to gel together and just bond with each other. And I noticed that at first, and so I noticed that in my fourth floor LLC, I had a lot of these, a lot of my peers in my classes, and I was like, hi, how you doing? Like, what's your name? Or can I connect with you on Instagram? How you doing? What's your name? Just going around, just figuring out everybody's name, where they stay and what they like to do and stuff like that. And then so eventually, I would go and knock on their doors and be like, yo, like, let's go to the common room, let's go to the community room, and let's study together, let's connect with each other. And that was really, really the best thing I could have done in this LLC, because now we are an unbreakable family. We're like a friend group of 13, 15 people. We're just constantly helping each other, doing things for each other, helping each other study. And it just helped the LLC, 4-4 LLC, connect as a whole. So for the next question, it asks, a resident assistant demands consistent follow-through with responsibilities such as deadlines, rounds, documentations, and is asking me what strategies or systems would you employ to maintain consistency during particularly busy periods. And I'd say my number one answer to this question is to use a planner. Use a planner. My mother has always taught me this since I was in high school, is to use a planner, because a lot of times us as humans, we get busy, we're always doing stuff and our days may get hectic, but we can keep these days organized with a planner. So for the next question, it asks, how would you ensure that expectations are consistently communicated, reinforced throughout the academic year, both in collaboration with your peers and your role as a resident assistant? I would say the main way is, even now with my RA Michaela, is we have a group meeting and she's always telling us, okay, this is when you guys need to do your roommate agreements. Oh, this is when you guys need to sign out. Oh, we have an all LLC meeting this day. And events and stuff like that through GroupMe has been a very good resource to use to making sure that our residents are. So the last and final question is, what approach would you take to repair relationships and foster trust with students, with residents, or not students, but residents with the miscommunication or disagreement? And I would say my main way to do this is to simply have an open and respectful conversation with both. Not in that set room, but in my room, where it's an organized space, a clean space, and a clean space for both of those parties, one resident to another, to talk it out. And, talk it out with words, not with hands, but with words. And I would say that I want both of them to acknowledge their feelings and take into full consideration how both parties feel, and respectfully, go back to that roommate agreement.